Hi guys, right, the first video in the whole series, so sorry about the bad camera work on this one. I'm actually using my mobile because my little video camera is not working for some reason. It doesn't want to play with the computer, so we'll make do with this for now. So we're going to make a boat, obviously with no tools. We're going to have to make our own tools, and we're going to have to make all the equipment we need to do it. So I was thinking about this and thinking what was the first tool that would probably have been produced in some sort of workshop. Well, before we go any further, we want to be able to produce A, a straight line, and B, a flat surface. So if we were forging something or marking something out, the first thing we would pick up is a straight edge or a flat plate, an engineer's surface plate, one of those two things, to either flatten a surface or create a straight line to chisel down afterwards to make a relatively flat surface to finish off on the engineer's plate. So I decided the first thing I'm going to need is a hammer. Well, I haven't got a hammer. I haven't got any tools to make a hammer. So the first thing I'm going to have is a big rock. Now this is going to provide me with going to provide me with a impact tool of some description. It's fairly rounded, it's fairly tough. I've just picked it up out of the field. It's obviously been through the tractor a few times. I don't know what it is, it's quite muddy, but it's very, very hard, and it's not chipped, it's just marked. So I don't think it's some sort of sandstone. I think it's some sort of igneous rock, or metamorphic rock maybe, I don't know. But anyway, we have ourselves a hammer, and I have myself some pieces of Cotswold stone. Now this is quite hard Cotswold stone from near Badsey in Evesham. Some of it's actually limestone, so that's a very fine grade of stone there. And I'm going to show you how to make a flat surface plate for things like flattening surfaces and sharpening chisels. Can be used for all sorts of things, but it's our first major tool. So what we're going to do is take our hammer and our piece of rock, and we're going to slowly chip away at it until we get a relatively lump-free surface. I'm going to do this on all three pieces. Oh, it smells lovely, it really does. So we'll just keep chipping away at that. That one's looking relatively flat. That one has a flat side but a broken piece there, so we'll just snap the end off. There we go, that's that one. That one's relatively flat. We'll just flatten him out a bit. I'm just striking very gently. I'm not hitting it hard. I don't want to shatter the piece of stone. I'm almost rubbing it with a bit of aggression, if you like. Striking at a very oblique angle, bouncing off it like you would skip a stone over water, on the top of the lump. I'm not trying to shatter it off, I'm trying to chip it away. So that's that piece done. It's actually not taking long at all. And there's the third piece. He's fairly flat, but he's got a lump in the middle, so we'll just... That's another piece of limestone, so a bit harder. Oh, it does smell. This might be a piece of flint, actually. I'm not sure. It's quite muddy, but it's very, very hard. Right, so we've got... looks fairly flat. That'll do. We've got our bits of stone, and we're going to select our best three. So I think we'll use these three pieces here, and all we do is we label them A, B and C. And what we do is we rub A against B, and we'll do this for 5 or 10 minutes. Now, keeping B in your swap, put A down, take B to your other hand and pick up C. and rub B against C. Okay, so we've made a bit of an impression there. They're starting to rub down, and then we take C and rub it against A. And what this does is it evens out all the imperfections between all three pieces. And then we're back to the beginning. We put C down, we pick up B, and we rub A against B. And we just keep going and going and going. We put A down, swap B into our first hand, and we rub B against C. We do that for half an hour or something. Put B down, rub C against A. If I do this for several hours, in fact this one's already starting to come true, we'll have 3 flat surfaces. And eventually what it will look like is, here's a piece of slate that I did before. You end up with, this has been flatted off by me for actually laying wet and dry sandpaper on to sharpen my chisels. So I had 3 pieces of this, and I rubbed them together for the best part of a day each. Actually, it was a long process, and then I ended up with 3 perfectly flat pieces of slate. They were fairly flat to start with. They were actually a fire surround, but obviously they weren't engineered flat. And if you keep rubbing these pieces together, A against B, B against C, and C against A, you'll end up with a perfectly flat surface that will take a straight level, and it can be used for working out how straight an edge is. So if you make yourself a ruler with indentations on it, you can actually hold that up in the light and see something like this. We use this old square here for now. If you hold that up in the light, you can see that no light gets past it, and it doesn't rock backwards and forwards. It's perfectly flat. And that is now an engineered surface. And the joy of that is that once you've got a flat surface, you can keep it flat with those 3 reference points. And you know that you always have a flat surface that you can keep flat and make flat, knowing it's perfectly flat. So you always have a perfectly flat reference point to start with. And this will become evident when we make chisels, and we make saws, and we make files, and various other things. We always need to start with a reference point, and the reference point is a perfectly flat surface. So keep your eyes peeled, and look for the next video where we're going to start looking for bits of metal to forge into various tools.